just lost you. I'm back. I have just come back with the food shop, which I have been meaning to do for the longest time. It's actually kind of embarrassing how long I've left it. I've come back with a food shop, and it's just a small shop. I didn't do a lot actually, which I'm gonna have to go again, so that's fun. So might give you a mini food haul. Got me some fruit, juice, veg, which I'm actually gonna cook something now, so I'm gonna use these now. Bit naughty, and I got some ramen, hummus, a lot of garlic, fries, and lemon. That's everything I got just now. I have cooked a fresh batch of rice, so I'm gonna make the chicken, rice, and veg combo. And I'm gonna like meal prep it. If you watched my meal prep video on my main channel, you'll know that I'm trying to meal prep more because I hate cooking and all that. So I'm gonna do that now. It actually didn't take that long. It took me like what, an hour to make or something like that. And this is the final product. So what I did was I cooked chicken in spices, cooked the rice, put in onions, garlic, chilies, spices, veg, rice, chicken, mixed it all together, and you get this huge pot. I was gonna say of goodness, but I haven't actually tried it yet, so let me try it. So this is what it looks like at the end. Ooh, that's really good. And that's dinner for the next 3 days. Sorted. Finally, it's time to eat. Wahey! Spoke on my main channel about how I have done like an ADHD screening, and I spoke to a psychologist and went through that whole process, and I did vlog some of it. But I realized I did a really bad job of explaining the whole situation and things like that. Like, a lot of people probably don't even know what ADHD is, and I never even explained to them. Because, to be fair, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But I'm gonna show you clips of like the whole screening and things like that, and like my initial reaction to it all. But before I do that, I thought I would try and explain what ADHD is. So it's actually a really good website, nhs.uk, and it goes through like the basic overview. So ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I'm more on the attention side as opposed to hyperactivity. Oh, I don't know. Some people do call me hyper, but I don't think it's like crazy hyper. And then it goes through symptoms, causes, diagnosis, treatment, whatnot. Oh, actually, before this, because I know I'm going to forget, that's another ADHD thing. We forget a lot. Well, I forget a lot. Okay, so just to explain to you how it happened with me, like how this came to be, how I realized that I might have this. First of all was I got a lot of comments from people saying that I show signs and that I may have ADHD. When that initially happened, I did ignore those comments because I didn't know what it was, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. But I didn't think much of it because I didn't know what ADHD was. And it was only when my TikTok started recommending a lot of like ADHD videos, and they would explain what ADHD was, I started to relate to all the things that they were talking about, and some of them were like really specific, and I was like, that's so weird. I didn't even know that was a thing, like a weird thing, but I guess, and I learned the difference between neurotypical and neurodivergent. Most of the world, turns out, is neurotypical, and they think in a very neurotypical way. And then there's some people who are neurodivergent, and we just think differently. I didn't know there was a difference my whole life, but now that I do, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. That explains why I always felt like I was too much my whole life, or like not good enough and failing and just struggling with like things. Anyway, the initial reaction is surprise, I have ADHD. Literally, no one is surprised. You know that meme where it's like pretends to be shocked? That was literally me when I told people. People used to sometimes describe me as quirky, and I never really liked that description because to me, the word quirky sounds like someone who's trying too hard to be different. And I don't feel like I'm ever trying hard to be different. I feel like I'm just, if anything, I'm trying hard to be as normal as possible. But yeah, it turns out I'm not quirky. I just have ADHD. Because all the quirky tendencies, so like the whole like loads of thoughts and crazy ideas and, you know, hyperactivity, turns out it's just ADHD. I'm not special. I just have a disorder. Once I did that, I went on the NHS website, and they basically say you to speak to your GP. Your GP is like your doctor. So I spoke to my GP. They asked me a bunch of questions, and they gave me a referral. So you get referred. If your GP thinks you show signs of ADHD, they will refer you to a psychologist and a psychiatrist. And then the psychologist is people that do the screening. Hope I explained that well. I am by no means an expert on this. If you come in here for like advice on how to cope with it, I can't help you there. I've literally just figured this out. I'm still kind of finding my feet with the whole thing, but I can explain to you my initial reaction to the whole thing. The symptoms are inattentiveness and hyperactivity and impulsiveness. Now, I have combined ADHD, which means I have like both of them, but mine is more on inattentiveness and impulsiveness. So I'm gonna read the symptoms out, and you're gonna very quickly realize that it's very obvious that I have it. Inattentiveness, having a short attention span and being easily distracted. That's literally me to a T. Making careless mistakes, for example, in schoolwork. They say in schoolwork because this is catered to like children, but I'm an adult. So let's say, for example, in my videos, the amount of times I have made mistakes in my videos and people have pointed it out and I didn't even realize, I will film footage. I will then spend hours editing that footage. I will then upload and check that video before it goes live. And within the first 5 minutes, someone will watch that video and point out all the mistakes. Like, classic example, I did a video where I did the alphabet challenge. So I had food in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D. And in that one, I was bragging about how I nailed it, and I forgot the W. And I didn't even realize that. I filmed, edited, bragged about how I nailed it, put it out onto the world, and within 5 minutes, everyone told me I got it wrong. Being unable to stick to tasks that are tedious or time-consuming. Yes, I hate doing my taxes. I hate doing all the adult stuff, like bills and car stuff and all of that stuff. So yeah, I relate to that a lot. I hate it so much. Appearing to be unable to listen to or carry out instructions. I think this is the one that I was most, I felt very validated by, because I have always said that I'm a terrible listener and I feel so bad and guilty about it. And every time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a better listener, I'm gonna be engaged, and I fail miserably. Constantly change an activity or task, yes. One thing that I didn't even realize is how, I didn't even know I had ADHD, but I've literally changed, every decision in my life has brought me to a point where, as an ADHD person, you thrive in. For example, now I understand. So I tried to be the traditional person. So I was very academic and I went down the legal route, right? The law degree, which is very, for an ADHD person, it's really testing the limit, which explains why I struggled mentally so much during my university years. I didn't sleep. I did an all-nighter for every one of my exams and I just was not thriving. But I didn't want to seem like a failure, so I just pushed on through, and that whole hustle mentality and proving your worth. But now I realize it's not that I wasn't good at it, it's just my brain is just different. But I didn't know that about myself. But anyway, so ADHD people, because we are quite hyperactive and we're more we thrive better in a creative job, and also when we're self-employed. So for me, I am self-employed. I have a creative job where I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I'm my own boss. So I, without even realizing, have created a lifestyle that works perfectly for my ADHD. We love that. I think this is why having a answer and knowing and getting a diagnosis is so important, because it just explains your life. I could have saved myself so many years of struggle if I had just known. Having difficulty organizing tasks, yeah. Inattentiveness, I tick all the boxes. It's very obvious that I have it. The main symptoms of hyperactivity and impulsiveness are being unable to sit still, especially in calm or quiet surroundings. Again, I don't know if that's me. I mean, I do have a job that's very up and go. I'll be honest, when I was in the office job, I did hate sitting in one spot looking at a screen for 10 hours. But I don't know if it's that bad. Constantly fidgeting, I wouldn't really describe myself as a fidgeter. Excessive physical movement, excessive talking. So, I don't know, I don't think I do excessive physical movement. I wish. That would be great if I could exercise all the time. But I do excessive talking. Being unable to wait their turn, 100%. This makes me sound so bad. Acting without thinking, 100%. Interrupting conversations, 100%. Little or no sense of danger. I think so. Because when I read that, I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of a wimp. But actually, it's not that I'm like a daredevil, it's that I don't think things through. Like when I went solo traveling and I put myself in these situations, which are very dangerous, by the way. And I'm just like documenting it for the whole world to see. But actually, when you think about it, I am a woman by myself in another country. It's very late at night. I don't know the language, and it's just like I put myself in really dumb, dangerous situations. Thankfully, nothing bad has happened so far, but like, if I was my own kid, I'd be terrified. Those are the symptoms. So this is how the screening went. It is currently 5 to 6, and I'm actually gonna do my first ADHD screening. I was gonna say, I'm not very good online, but that's literally my job.
Do you find yourself getting emotionally hurt or upset? Would people say you are quite a sensitive person? The wrong look, the wrong word?
Yes.
Do you find yourself, if you get frustrated, getting angry easily?
Yes.
And do you ever have the thought that you know you want to do this thing, you should be doing this thing, but you just can't be bothered, you can't get around to it?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel so cold out right now.
Tell me, your focus and your concentration when you're trying to focus on something that you might not be particularly interested in, do you find focus and concentration easy or not easy?
If it's something I'm not interested in, not really.
When you are working on a project, do you ever have any difficulty with almost wanting to be super perfect?
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a control freak. Like, I do everything. I've been trying to get someone, like, help with a certain part of my job, like editing, and I cannot take away that control. I feel a lot of emotions right now. I just feel a lot of emotions right now. It's just very validating. I feel like now I can explain my behavior a lot better, and I won't be so quick to bring myself down and hate myself for not living up to a certain standard. Like, if I can't focus properly, or if I get agitated, or if I have hyper emotions, I'm not going to hate myself for it, because I have to understand that it's not something I can entirely control. It doesn't excuse my behavior. I don't want to be like, going about doing whatever I want and be like, oh, it's the ADHD, but at the same time, it kind of is. But obviously, I'm always going to try to be the best version of myself I can possibly be. But if I can't always live up to that, I shouldn't hate myself for it, because I can't always control it. So yeah, that was kind of a cool conversation to have. It was actually very validating, because I always think I'm too much and I'm too sensitive and all that sort of stuff. But now I realise I can't really control it. It's just the way my brain works. So yay. Obviously, this is all still very new to me, so I don't have like a crazy amount to say now. I don't want to go into it too much because I'm still figuring it out for myself, and I want to do that in private. I think the biggest advice I would give to anyone, try to get to know yourself as much as possible, because I feel like we don't do that enough. I feel like, the same way when you meet a friend or you meet your partner, you ask them questions, you get to know them, you find out what they like, dislike, what their flaws are, and things like that. Do the same for yourself. Ask yourself as many questions as possible and do things and learn about yourself, because the more you learn about yourself, the better your quality of life. Like, if I didn't question this about myself, if I didn't go and speak to a psychologist, I wouldn't have known about this. And now that I know about it, it's given me such a great understanding of who I am and why I am the way that I am. And I'm able to do things to help me cope with it better, and to change some habits and live a much, hopefully, better and healthier life. Constantly keep learning. Don't beat yourself up too much. Obviously, if you are, going out of your way to intentionally hurt people, then yeah, you're kind of a bad person. But if you're just a human being that makes mistakes, because as humans, we all do, yes, you can be aware like what you did wasn't great, but try not to beat yourself up over it, because that doesn't help anyone. Rather than doing that, be very self-aware, be aware that what you did wasn't great, and try and change that behavior. I think making the mistake itself doesn't make you a bad person. It's how you react afterwards. If you continue to make that mistake again and again, then yeah, probably not a great person. If you made that mistake but have changed your behavior and you choose not to do that anymore, I don't think that makes you a bad person. I just think that makes you human, you know? No one's perfect. We're all brought up with very different experiences and we go through so much different things. We just have to be more compassionate and understanding. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I don't know if it's something to enjoy, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you'll see me soon, maybe you won't. You never know on this channel. As always, don't get attached. Love ya. Bye.